So which means that if I were a youngster listening to this podcast and I have another, 30, 40 years of career ahead of me, how do I, up my thinking skills to be prepared for this AI era?
Oh, that's a great question. I was talking to my students the other day, right? And they're like, I don't know, this is undergraduates, like they're between 18 and 23. And, my graduate students are in the late 20s to early 30s. And my, um, observation is that, you guys have your lives ahead of you. And this is such an exciting time, to be in this space. Like, I've created 3 sort of AI startups in my career, but I did it during a time when people were resistant to AI. I mean, I did it anyway. I brought AI, machine learning to Wall Street, and people said, "What the hell is this? Like
Yeah.
what? What sense does it make?" So, but I did it anyway because I believed that there was a lot of merit to it, and it was the future. Whereas now the world is so receptive to it, right? So there are so many possibilities, in terms of creating better data sets to do something, because there's often value in creating data that can be used to do something useful, right?
Yeah.
And you talked about big tech as having data,
Yeah.
but the world is wide open in terms of the kind of data sets you can collect to do useful things.
Yeah.
So what I tell people is, up your thinking in terms of where you think AI, for example, is going to transform an industry or the way people do things, and then start collecting the data to make that possible.
So which means that I've been trained as a student over years thinking mechanically, right? Suddenly, when I come to the AI era or when I start to work and I'm collaborating with machines, I'm collaborating with data, you would really talk about in most of your articles the fact that contextualization of that data becomes very, very important. And then suddenly, my critical thinking skills, my soft skills, my ability to understand the feeling and the nuances of introspection becomes very important. And therefore, if I were a youngster, I would say, hey, working in ambiguity, but clearly ability to, up my thinking skills in how I need to apply this becomes very important, which you are not taught in many educational institutions today.
Indeed. I sort of look at this abstractly as the ability to conduct inquiry, right? I mean, that's what it really boils down to is, can you formulate an interesting question and then answer it, right? And there are so many interesting questions out there, that one could think about. I don't know, if I were to just dream, I'd say, what about assistance that for mental health or something, right? Where they're actually able to, increase your brain function and make you feel better and, be more effective, right? Can you actually design machines that make humans better at what they do, or they make people happier, right? Right. So how would you even ask such a question? How would you gather the data to be able to answer it, to show that, oh yeah, under these conditions, actually this kind of a machine does make people better or happier or whatever, right?
Yeah.
So it becomes a question that is an interesting one because the implications are incredibly important.
Yeah.
And then can you then do you have the chops to be able to answer that question, right? In the old days, you required a PhD to do this kind of thing, right? This was like PhD material. But now it's like, it's almost like everyone needs the ability to do inquiry, which means ask great questions and then to be able to work with data to be able to answer them, right? And so this is also one of my themes, is that what AI will force humans to do is make us better, right? So it'll either sort of eliminate us, but those of us that it doesn't eliminate, it'll force us to be better at what we do, right? Which has been the trend of technology anyway. Like a few hundred years ago, you were a genius if you knew how to do arithmetic, right? You were special, but now you're not, right? So technology keeps upping the game, and AI will continue to do that.